This video started off as a JavaScript async await tutorial. Then I realized to get to that point, you first need to understand what the JavaScript event loop is. So here we are, the JavaScript event loop. Now JavaScript is primarily a single-threaded language, and this means it executes one line of code at a time, in order from top to bottom. JavaScript doesn't like multitasking. It likes to tackle its tasks one at a time. Now exceptions exist, such as worker threads and native stuff, but for the time being we're going to ignore that, because JavaScript application execution is single thread. Now related to the event loop is this thing called an event queue, and this is JavaScript's productivity to-do list. The queue, simplified, is just a list of events that need to be tackled. And just like a queue, the to-do list items in the queue are dealt with in a first in, first out basis. So the queue helps the single thread keep track of what it's doing and what it needs to do. Now the thread continuously checks its queue for tasks to do until there's nothing left. If the queue is empty, the thread might go to sleep, but once an event re-enters the queue, then it's going to wake up and repeat this all over again. Things get a little bit more complicated with nested functions. So a nested function is one function that's calling another function. And within programming, you can often have an entire chain of nested functions, where one function is calling another, which is calling another, and so on. So to deal with this, there is a second structure we're going to introduce called the call stack. Now this is where JavaScript follows each function call as it's made, keeping track of the calling function, so that once it's done with the function call, it can return to the calling function and finish that block of code. So this time it's a stack and not a queue, because like a block of stacks, the last in is going to be the first out. So the last function call in this chain is going to be the first function that's dealt with, and then you're going to go to the calling function and finish that, and so on, until you run through the stack. Now that leaves only asynchronous events. An async event might be something like a function running when you click a button on a website. In that case, JavaScript can't exactly run the function in order, because it doesn't know when you're going to click the button. So once an async call is triggered, for example, you click that button, the function that needs to run because you click that button is just added to the back of the event queue. So if the thread is already busy running a function, then it's not going to stop what it's doing just to deal with your button click. It's going to add that to the back of its existing to-do list, and it's going to run through its scheduled tasks one at a time. So with this, even asynchronous events just become another part of the event loop. And with that out the way, we can finally move on to the async await pattern in JavaScript.